What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJ Sear channel dedicated to Juventus, and we all wanted that victory show today. It ends level 1-1. Jonathan David, hey, you just knew he was going to get one, but how about Jagrova?
Never heard of that guy before yesterday, but he was a problem yesterday.
Maybe June Tully eyeing up that guy for that potential 15 million euro purchase in the summer. Wouldn't have been all that bad either, but I'm still calling for a piss test on that guy today, okay? Because that was crazy. That was crazy, man. All right?
Here's your cup, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we got a lot to talk about in the aftermath of this one. We talked about the importance, the significance of this fixture in terms of top 8 hopes, Champions League. A lot of questions from fans right now in terms of this game, in terms of Malta, in terms of substitutions. And really, it's right there. Why can't Juve kill games? And what is it going to take for that next step for Juve? I do see positives in this match yesterday, but again, I also see the same concerns I had previously. So we're going to tackle it all. We're going to get through some of the news headlines real quick. There's not a whole lot in the news other than the watch for Nico Gonzalez and when he's going to get back. And they are hopeful it's going to be the Derby della Mole this weekend. Okay? Fingers crossed. I know we got the call up to the Argentinian national side despite being injured and trying to get back into it and whatnot. I would expect him to turn down the call. I think it would be the right decision again, but let's see what happens there. That's really all there is in the news. And then you just have media, again, weighing in on their thoughts of this Juve, and a couple of the comments, mainly some by Guido Vacciago, are striking a nerve with some fans. And we're going to bring that up in the aftermath once we go through the actual game. There's not going to be a ton for the highlights as we work through this. But Lille Juve, the starting lineup, we talked about it, best possible lineup that you could probably go in there and rock outside of maybe 2 question marks. Di Gregorio, Cambiaso, Gatti, Kalulu, Cabal, Locatelli, Thuram, Conceição, Cope Miners, Yildiz, and Vlahovic. So we're ready to go. What's going on?
Just when this stuff's uneven, then my whole thing feels uneven. Don't worry, we keep going. It's the OCD kicking in, as you can tell. I have a little bit of OCD.
All right,
on we go.
Everybody's got OCD. It's just different degrees, but everybody's got it. Did you know that? Everybody's got it.
I did not.
Now, we kick things off. Juve, I thought, we said this had the potential to be one of those games that could easily go back and forth for a stretch or a period of the match, okay? And, that's kind of what we saw in the first. Obviously, we said keep an eye on David and Jagrova. Jagrova can cook on that side. And, he was kind of cooking for them. But the alternative was, we said, there would be space opening up for Conceição. And look for him to kind of get going because he'll have opportunities to go back at them. So it kind of was like that. 13th minute, though, we get a good chip through ball from Yildiz. Vlahovic, very ambitious here, but he turns it on the one time, and it flashes just wide, far post. Keeper, he's a good keeper, actually. Chevalier might have got there if it was on target. Hey, anybody's guess, but Vlahovic takes a hit there. 26th minute, okay? Cabal gets torched, absolutely torched here, okay?
It looked like at the initial contact when he turned him, it looked like Cabal stopped or stutter stepped because he thought the ball was going to go out of bounds. Like it looked like he stopped, like it was a quick stop, and he's like, oh no, this ball's staying in bounds. Either way, he got torched.
Cabal had a handful, but I'm going to talk about that more in the post-match and everything as we discuss performances and everything. But, I was calling for the professional foul. Like, just end it. Let everybody regroup. But at the same time, I did see the concerns. And, there was still 4 guys v1 at the back there. We still had numbers. Kalulu should have picked up David way quicker. Way quicker. If you see him going behind and Cabal's in the middle of this 1v1 with, Zagrova, who may or may not be on the juice, everybody, you got to help out. But we don't. He can't intercept that pass. David is coming in, and you could just see it coming a mile away. That's a great finish from Jonathan David. We're down 1, okay? Reaction time. Thought the reaction was actually good. It was so positive.
We must have had 80% possession up until that point.
It never was that high, but we had a good amount of possession, okay?
Yeah.
33rd minute, Locatelli puts in a good low cross to Vlahovic. That's a hell of a save because Vlahovic does very well on his off foot, right foot, directing his short side hard. And
such a nice save.
That's a big save. I thought for sure, and you could see in Vlahovic's reaction, he thought 100% that's in the back of the net. Because 9 times out of 10, that is going to be back of the net. That was a good save there. We had a couple of goals called back for offside. The second one, very close. Both getting the ball deep, hitting the trailing run, Cope Miners. I liked where he was. That's where I want to see him. I want to see him in positions where he can strike, where he can do damage. It wasn't all that bad. We hit the half at 1-0, but I'm like, you're watching this game, there's goals to be had there. And the cracks are there in Lille. We just got to pick it up. We've got to put them under and find that equalizer. That's how I felt. What was your thoughts at halftime?
I kept putting it in the as I was running the main again yesterday. We're getting to the final third. We're getting there. We're getting in the area. We're doing a lot of good things. That final pass, again, that's been our kryptonite. Can't figure it out. Or when we did figure it out, we're offside.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments in that first half, and you've got Yildiz, you've got Thuram. That's my one knock on Thuram is the passing, that final pass. It's not quite there. Again, just starting to get in there, just starting to get some continuity in the lineup for him. But it's things that have to ramp up for us to get to that next level, I think anyways. But again, we'll tackle that in the aftermath. The second half, good start from Juve. Positive start from Juve. All over them. Possession, dominated possession, but you got to hurt them. You got to make them count. The funny thing was, even through all this possession, they come at us. They got an opportunity and actually could have been dangerous, was a big block, and then a slide tackle from Thuram. The ball bounces off Zagrova into Di Gregorio's hands. He immediately gets up, tosses it in front of Cambiaso, realizing the space that is ahead of him, and Cambiaso goes to town. Bombs forward, okay, beats the guy at the middle, and then we're free and clear running at the top of the 18. Gets there, finds Conceição. Conceição beats the first guy, cuts in on the second, and you know the second that guy sticks his leg out, Conceição's taken the contact. Did everything right, drew the PK. Vlahovic steps up and cool and calm and poised. That's how you take a PK.
I think it was last year. It was last year. I was calling for him not to take PKs last year. He was on that cold stretch. I think he went 3 in a row or 4 in a row where he was not hitting them well. This year, he's got ice water in his veins. Every single one's been clinical. I think he's most of the time he sends the keeper the wrong way. But
I've been saying it the past couple performances. I've really liked what I've seen out of Dusan. This past one, I'm going to talk about it in the aftermath here, but that was great. He was on one. He was doing very, very well. So we equalize. This is where you put the screws to a team.
Yes.
You're dominating possession, okay? You've just come back 1-1. You've been the better side through the play. Time to step on the neck. It's time to do it. But I didn't feel that. Like, I felt like there was this moment, this opportunity right after that goal, and we dominated possession. We got right back on top of them. but we allowed them to relieve that. And then we just weren't fighting to win the ball back quick enough. Let up, and then they kind of grew and came back at us. And there was this little like lull kind of from us. And then we get substitutions that I don't think helped us. So 68th minute, Turam, Cabal, Vlahovic all off. McKennie, Savona, and Weah in. We're going to get to this in the aftermath. 81st minute, you get another sub, which was Yildiz, who moved up to lead the line. But again, too much of a drop. There was too much of a drop there. I didn't like it. It ended 1-1. It's not because I saw it all. I read disgrace from us. Like I saw fans really fired up. The performance didn't bother me. The result is infuriating. But I don't think performance-wise it was that bad. I felt I'm at the same spot I was before where I can't figure out what takes us that next step of killing games and killing teams, right? Mm-hmm. That's where I'm left. I'm left the same. The performance, and Monta said it. He goes, I'm not bothered by the performance. The result is what kills us. But he's happy with what he's seeing. I still need to see more opportunities at a team that you're dominating possession on. The possession needs to mean something for me.
Yeah, what did we have? We had 11 attempts, 5 in the first.
11 attempts total. The match finished with us around 64%. In the second half, it was close to 70% possession for us. We finished with 6 attempts, where in the first half, we had 5 attempts. It's weird.
Where's that line, right? Like it's, how do we, it's passing that line from, okay, we figured out how to play as a team. Like we're at that point. When do we take that next step? It's that next step that we're all looking for. Now, is it something that we should expect this season? Is it something that we should expect a new team, new coach to be able to come up with this soon? And based on the performances I've seen, I agree with you. I can't see what's stopping us from, we were doing it earlier in the season when we were taking it to teams, we were getting that second goal, we were getting that third goal. This is the one where I'd have to agree. Everything was there. All the pieces were in place. Players were in place. Where was that second goal?
I don't quite understand what it's going to take. I mean, I talked about the media and they're putting out things about the age of this group and stuff. And you and I got into the age discussion.
They're young, yeah.
I see a team with a lower average age than us go out and absolutely destroy Man City yesterday. Absolutely destroyed them. 4-1 or whatever. And I will put our roster up next to that of Sporting's. It's got, like, you've got to find that next level. It's like we can't find the sweet spot mentally almost. Like this team is so different. When you watch this team play level, score, versus when you see them go down a goal versus when you see them up a goal.
Yep, it's 3 different teams.
It's like watching a complete different side. It's crazy to me. They need to find that sweet spot. And I don't know if when things are level, the margin for error to lose that level scoreline or something allows them to hold back. But when they're down and when they're up is when they play kind of their best, but you're still lacking creation. Like you still need to have the opportunities. The possession means nothing until you're actually doing something with it and punishing teams. They've got to find that sweet spot.
This is probably the first game where in our group chat, we all, it was almost unanimous that we didn't like the substitutions that he made. Game in, game out, we've been like, he's got the substitutions right. Players that come in have, performed. They've contributed goals. They've played better. They played better than the person who was, they were taken off. But yesterday it was, A lot of people had an issue with Dusan coming off.
I had a I had a problem with it. I had a problem with it. We will get to that. Let's get to man of the match for Juve here. I'm curious on this one
Yeah,
because
this is a
I
tough
didn't
one.
find it clear cut, but I'm
Hmm.
curious, everyone in the chat here, who you had for man of the match before we go a little bit into a deeper
Hmm.
dive into this game. I had it between maybe two players, myself personally, but I'm
So did I.
curious because it felt strange to me trying to find one particular here. But who was yours, Anth?
For me, so Chico was a notable mention for me. I thought he had a good game. But he's starting again. We talked about it in the pregame where he's putting himself in positions where he seems like he's doing a little bit too much. And I thought that was happening again yesterday. I thought he played a good game, but there were some moments.
First half, I thought, and that's the thing with a player like that. There's a fine line. There's a fine line between right in the sweet spot and then too much. And
Yeah,
I felt in the first half tipping the scale to too much a bit. Second half, dialed better. But that's one of the things with
yeah.
that player.
I thought Tudom had. I thought he had a Jekyll and Hyde game. I thought he was great at some points, and I thought he was letting himself down at other points. So another sort of notable mention for me. Again, I liked everything that Colt Miners did yesterday. The way he was dictating everything. He had two goals called back. He's getting in the right positions. Uh, I I can understand that there's a shout for other players. I think your two are different than mine. But for me, I, Colt Miners was again the
Yeah.
best head on the field yesterday.
And it's funny. We're going to talk about Colt Miners because a lot didn't see it that way. So we'll get into it all. We've got a lot of shouts for Locatelli. We've got Chico coming
Yeah.
up quite a bit. We've got Yildiz and Loca. We've got Locatelli or Dushan. Locatelli or Taram. I'm going to go through this all. So with Conceição, like I
Even,
said, in the first, I
even
felt like it was a bit too much from him.
mhm.
The overall game plan, it's funny because I hear a lot of the fans say that, well, we can't just toss it to Chico and hope because that's our game plan. But you have to take what teams give you also.
Yeah.
We called this out on the preview show. I said there
Mhm.
is going to be space for Chico. They're going to push with Jagrova as they did. That was expected. They pushed with
That
him.
part was good.
That other opposite end for them starts to shift inwards to clean up and just offer a little bit of support because that's the pressing flank for Lille. The space naturally opens up on that other side, as it did on the goal we scored off the PK because Di Gregorio notices all the space there, Cambiaso, and we go up that flank and we drive right through the space in the middle there as they're pushing numbers forward. Um, the space is there for him. So I'm not going to fault us and say that's our only game plan. This game, he had the space and we took it.
Mhm.
So I'm not really going to spend a whole lot focusing on balance. I was fine with that. But in terms of Chico, he wasn't man of the match for me. I had it between Locatelli and Vlahovic. Those were the two guys I was looking at. Um, when I go to Locatelli, this was a great game from him. 97 touches, 91% accurate passes, two key passes, one for two on crosses, one right on the foot of Vlahovic. That was a great save by Chevalier.
Mhm.
Long balls, 12 for 14. He was switching the field like crazy. Okay.
And that's another thing that we were doing a lot yesterday, which I was very happy to see, especially in the first half. We weren't going around the horn; we were going directly across over the top.
Yeah, a lot of good defensive interventions there from Locatelli. Locatelli had a game. Vlahovic, Vlahovic, this is everything I've been asking for from Vlahovic, and I think I saw it in that performance yesterday, and I've been seeing it gradually get better game by game by game there. I just haven't really wanted to shine a big light on it, and I think it's better when the focus isn't solely on this guy. He's got 9 goals in 15 games now. This one was a PK, but in the first half, I loved the way he was moving. He was
Mhm.
moving everywhere. He was making corner runs. He was making the through ball runs to give Yildiz opportunities. He was trying to find his teammates. He's the one that hit Cope Miners on one of the canceled goals on the trailing run. I liked everything he did. There is no way, no way I take him out of this game at the 68th minute. There is absolutely zero shot. When a guy finally feels like it's clicking and like it is way better than what you've been seeing and he's giving it to you, you don't sub him out there. I would have never ever made that substitution. I didn't like that one at all.
Do you think that was a substitution looking too much towards Torino this weekend?
Well, and we'll get to that. I still haven't even decided who my man of the match is, but I'm
Oh, sorry.
going to give this one to Locatelli. I'm going to give this one to Locatelli. It's tough. I'd love to give it to Vlahovic too. You know what?
Even
Stepped
RB
up.
Comp's in here. RB Comp's giving it to Vlahovic.
Yeah.
Good for
You
you.
know what? I'm going to give it to Dusan. I'm going to give it to Dusan. That was a big PK. We absolutely needed it buried. Yeah, I'll go there. Locatelli got a lot of love from everybody here, and he's up there. I'm fine with calling both. Look, as
Who
far as
won
the
the
subs,
actual? Who won the actual man of the match? Do we know? Like the official one?
I'm not sure who got the official.
If someone can let us know in the chat.
Yeah,
There.
somebody could let us know who
I-
got the official there. I didn't see it. Yeah, the subs. Was Mota
Definitely wasn't jumping in
disconnected from this game with those substitutions? That's the question everybody's at. Was it? So Dushan won it, apparently, according to Swarit. So there you go. Saying
Okay.
Dushan won man of the match. So we got to say, was there a disconnect there with these substitutions from Mota? You talked about the derby coming up this weekend.
Mhm.
This is a really shitty spot for Malta because you could see we're thin, you know? You could also see the energy level. There was a bit of a fade there. We talked about being able to step on the throats after going, but you just didn't have enough there. I can see him thinking fresh legs can maybe take you that extra step, okay? It's a moment where if he doesn't make the subs and it ends 1-1, the argument becomes, why didn't you put fresh legs and try to
That's what I was just gonna say. It's like maybe he's like this game once we tied it, that game just felt like a draw. There was some back and forth, but it's just that game was heading for a draw, and my guess is that's what Mota felt, and he pulled the trigger to rest some of his players who he's going to start on Saturday or Sunday, whatever.
I think it's Saturday.
Saturday.
It's one of those things. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one, but I really, really just I can't get behind that Vlahovic one. And the match is Saturday. I can't get behind that Vlahovic one at all. I really, really can't. I think fresh legs maybe on the outside. I actually think what I would have done, and maybe we can discuss this as moving in the future, because we got to figure out what takes this team to that next level, right? Like what is it that is preventing us from like killing teams? I might have dropped Cope Miners, this thing we've been talking about for a bit, dropped him in the midfield and moved Yildiz to the 10 and brought in fresh legs on one of the wings, maybe both of the wings.
Yeah.
Because Cabal had his hands full. And I want to talk about this too, because Cabal got absolutely roasted and everything, but that's like asking the opposition to go 1v1 against Conceição all game. We left Cabal there to deal with it. And I think overall, in the grand scheme of things, he did well with a very tricky customer. He did very, very well, because Cambiasso, when he moved over there, he got torched a few times easily too.
I thought he held him well. Is that goal totally on Cabal? A lot
Not
of
totally.
a lot of people, right? Could they have done better marking David there? Is that on Kalulu as well? When it's hard to totally blame a guy for a goal when he loses his man in their final third.
Yeah.
Like like okay, I agree that the professional foul should have been had, but that's a when did they score? What time is it?
26 minutes. So that's pretty
Like
early.
that's
I know
early.
the yellow's
Yellow.
probably on his mind.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
I thought he was fine.
I think
You know,
overall, in the grand scheme of things, he held on pretty good considering. And at the
good.
end of
Yeah.
the day, we allowed 6 attempts total from Lille. You've got to get 3 points here. Bottom line.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
we held them
Yeah.
to 6 total attempts the entire game, everybody. This has to be 3 points. And that's why I just can't figure out why we can't do more. What is it? What is it that prevents us from getting more attempts on goal? So going back to this midfield setup, I liked the lineup we played yesterday. I liked the positions they were in. I heard everybody say, well, our midfield, it was all to the flanks and everything. Again, taking what the team is giving you, I didn't like it that much either, but I understood it because, again, we dominated possession and we got deep. We got in their area, in their final third a lot.
But
It's just finding
let me
that.
ask. Let me ask them. What if you're wrong and that we are there, but we had those 2 goals called offside? We're up 2-1. It's a completely different game, and you have a completely different tone today. So there is the argument to say, because you're saying, what is it going to take? Stay on side. Those 2 goals. I'm not saying that they were bad calls. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Yildiz passes that ball to Dushan on the first offside goal 1 step sooner. Dushan's onside. Now, does Colt Myers get to his spot? Who knows? Who put the cross in the second one? I think it was Yildiz. I think it was Cambiasso. I think he gave him the through ball. He's half a yard offside, inches. We're having a completely different conversation today if we're up 2-1 at halftime. So I
understand that. But the thing is, you didn't get those goals. They didn't count. So, again, if you're telling me 70% possession pretty much in the second half will amount to 6 attempts for the rest of the way out, that's not good enough in a game that you're not winning.
I see that as well. I get what you're saying.
Like, that's where I'm kind of at. Is like, why? What is it? So what are the guys doing? We're not even getting in lanes where guys can have strikes. Like, we could say, hey, these guys just need to shoot more. They're not really getting there. So
did we have any shots from range from the middle of the park yesterday? I can't think of any.
Here's the thing: is like outside of the disallowed goals, I could think of the Vlahovic shot that was stopped from the Locatelli cross, and that's really it, man. The rest of the attempt, Yildiz back post stopped one on a cross and shot right into the traffic there.
Yildiz had 2 bouncers, side volleys, top of the box. Those are barely even half chances. What we did do yesterday, I thought we did well.
Cambiasso took a shot from range and it went well over the bar. Right. I'm not feeling it. I see Skippy here saying, come on, Berto, the ball was in the net 3 times. Their keeper made some great saves. That doesn't put the points on the table for us, man. You've got to find a way.
To defend Berto on that point is that good, you did that. Elevate your game to do it again.
Make it
to
count.
Take the lead. Make it count. And we were putting good balls into the box, like from the sides, and I think there was like 3 or 4 where there was just nobody at the end of it. Perfectly 6-yard box, froze the keeper in no man's land. Those ones just not finding targets. Got to fix that.
I don't know. And, it's like we were getting the chances. The second half, What? There wasn't.
We didn't we didn't do much in the second half. We had
We
six
had
attempts.
way more possession. We were all over them, but you're not getting the effectiveness. You're not getting the danger. Like, I never felt really overall in danger from them. Jagrova was tricky and stuff, but I always felt like we're fine. Do we did we really put them under enough danger for dominating the ball that much? I'm going to say no. I don't think we put enough at them. And again, this team, I can feel it. I can literally feel it watching them. When they're down and when they're up is when we're at our best. But it's still, there's something in the final third that's not gelling, not clicking. I don't know what the answer is. Is there something I would try? Cope Miner's back. Yield is in the 10. Maybe that unlocks it. And he'll be closer to Vlahovic. Vlahovic is doing well. I don't know. I don't know, man. But for me, I need to see more. I need to see more. We talked about this at 81% possession against Udinese at one point, 15-minute mark or whatnot. We come away with 2 chances. It's the same vibes I get here. You've got to get your chances up.
What game was that? It was the Genoa game. I think it was it the Genoa game where we went up. They took a red and we went up 1-0 on a PK, or we went up 1-0 on a PK. I remember it was a game where I think it was Genoa. Our first goal was a PK, and you said I wanted to see us go up 1-0 in that game without the PK because we weren't breaking them down. And how long ago was that game? That was like a month and a half ago.
That was early. I want to see us do it in open play.
Yeah.
And without offsides, everybody. Without offsides. I want them to count. Guys, I'm right here. Like I said, I'm level. I need this team to show me the next level.
You're there.
I don't think we're far. I don't think we're far. Mm-hmm. I also want to point out another thing that's been bothering me that I think plays into this too. The overall tempo that we play in.
Okay.
It's gotta get quicker. Again, when you're dominating a game and you're putting a team back and you're creating, you're putting yourself in the opportunities that we'll see you then create and stuff. Too much slow nonsense to get the ball to that next man where the ball progression is. It's too slow. It's too slow, and they don't trust each other. They're second-guessing these things. Thread the needle, take some chances, take some risks, but it's got to be quicker. There's way too much hesitation. I don't know why, but it's very slow. It's very, very slow. The tempo needs to be up and quicker, and that is harder for the defending team as well. When you're moving it just quicker in general. You get the ball to the outside, make your mind up. If you know that, okay, they've got the double team here, I'm not going to take these guys on, make a quick feint and then distribute back. But then the next guy, have your cross in. Don't stare it dead or hit it on the one time so that the line doesn't then have that moment to like get to their man or whatnot. Like, create problems. Do it quicker. And this, I will give them a pass. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because yesterday, I actually did see a lot more positives in terms of how we were playing.
I did as well.
The ball movement, Vlahovic's involvement, how the top 4 were kind of playing and utilizing their roles. I think the tempo, and I'm hoping I'm right here, but I'm hoping the tempo ramps up as they become more familiar with each other.
I agree.
But I don't know how much patience I'm going to have before it gets quicker.
But there was times when we did do what you were saying.
Yes.
And those were the times when we created the best chances, the offside goals, especially the chances where you're saying when we have the ball on the outside and instead of going around the horn, it was a diagonal switch to the other side, more of an advancing switch. and then you create 2v1s on the sides, and that's when our most Cambiasos attack. It was just go at them. So
And
I
that's
agree with that.
why
I think
I'm not going to go down here. I'm just going to stay here because we're not far. We're not far. Some tweaking here and there,
yeah.
and we can
Chemistry.
hopefully.
Maybe it's just chemistry. Maybe it's just time playing together. I don't know.
Yeah. But I do feel there's a few more things we could maybe try lineup oriented. But again, getting into this topic we're on right now with the familiarity, that affects that too. Because now all of a sudden, and this is where Mota's in a very difficult position. Because do you start to do that or do you ride this out? Because the results still need to come. You need to get results. You need to get this to that next level. We can't wait forever and say, oh, familiarity. Like, that's cool now. But, and for some, it's not even cool now for some. For some, it's like, okay, let's get going. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. He's in a very, very tough spot because you can move Colt Miners back. You can put Yildiz in a 10. And you could see if that changes the overall and if it's better for the group. But
do you switch the starting lineup on Saturday?
Everybody's going to talk about rest. And I've heard the rest. And you know how I feel. You've got, work your load management stuff. I'd probably make one change in the middle. You could maybe make one change at the wing position. But I'm going to be quite honest. I'm fine. I'm fine going the exact same. I'm fine 100%. Going the exact same, to be quite honest. And then look for your subs. Let's get this thing going. And if it is a chemistry thing, a familiarity thing, let's go. But it's tough, man. We have to find that next gear though for Juve. You have to. Champions League.
Oh yeah. Where are we at?
Well, pull up the standings, take a look. Like I said, top 8 was definitely in jeopardy there with this draw. But I will say this, and I said this yesterday. As far as this match went, this 1-1 draw with Lille, this is not the one that kills me. That Stuttgart match is the one that kills me. Because we didn't even show up. And that's the one that drives me nuts. That's the one that drives me nuts. At home. Okay? We gotta get it dialed, everybody. We gotta get it dialed. So
who do we have now? Aston Villa.
So we are sitting in the 10th spot on 7 points. Obviously, Man City's at 7 points as well. You have Brest, Inter, and Arsenal all on 7 points, but they've only played 3 matches. Leverkusen, Lille, Celtic, Dinamo Zagreb all at 7 points with us. It's going to get, and of course, we know our next matchups. It's going to get very, very dicey.
Celtics.
Playoffs is what we're looking at. Yeah. And somebody made the shout. Playoffs are probably better for us. Play your way in. Get that fire going and whatnot. I appreciate the optimism, the optimistic outlook. Skanga?
I've always been the optimist. I do not want anything to do with a playoff. What the hell are we talking about? No. We don't do playoffs. Just get to the round of... Listen, I would be happy if we get to the round of 32. Again, my expectations were just to compete. But if the option is there, do not fucking go to a playoff.
Your face is just priceless. It was like, what?
No chance.
And you're up here. And you're like, no.
Avoid playoffs. Now, are those playoffs 2 leg? I think they're only 1 leg, the round of 32.
I actually think it's 2. I think it's a 2-leg playoff to go in.
2 extra games?
I think so. I could be mistaken. This is the first go around on that. You guys can obviously 2 legs, George. So 2 legs. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was 2 legs.
Yeah, that's an extra 2 games. Uh, we do not want any of that nonsense.
It,
That's two. That's 2 games less. That's 2 games less. 2 games of rest, right?
and
If we get there, great. But
this is why we talk about, this patience thing, this young team, this none of that really matters. Like, you got to get the job done. Malta now, it's cool. You've restored balance, which was a shit show. From a shit show you kind of created. We don't want to drop it all on one player, but the back was garbage and it affected any kind of progress you could made whatsoever because we went backwards in all accords there. Okay.
I thought they played, and I thought the back line played well yesterday. Other than I think what is a miscommunication between Gatti and Kalulu. Other than that, I thought they played well.
And the avoidable goals are killers too.
Got to
The
clean it up.
avoidable goals are killers. One way or another, obviously the tune would change if we were talking about a victory today because, yeah, it's way better to win than it is to draw. No shit.
Normally.
But I don't know what the answer is, everybody. I have no idea what the answer is to get this team to create more. At least harm teams more until you've got the game where you need it. Possession means next to nothing for me. Because somebody, like, we're getting into arguments now over possession-based football or parking it and count. I said, I don't give a shit what this team plays. I just need them to be effective. And the truth is, as I've stated all through last year, the funny thing was my knock was different last year versus my knock this year because last year was like, well, you've got to be able to do what? Go through the gears. You can't always play one style. And the truth that's the way it is. And the truth goes for Malta. You can't play one style. At the end of the day, whatever style you choose on, you still have to go through the gears. You have to be effective and you have to be able to punish teams. This was a game for the taking and we couldn't take it. Why? Anybody's guess.
I haven't seen any. Normally the army here is they have opinions. I haven't seen. I've seen. It's actually been pretty tame today, but I haven't seen any. What they think is what are we lacking? Because I don't know the answer either. I think we're right there. I think maybe I don't know if it's could be chemistry. I don't know.
I don't know what it is, man.
I'm
I don't
saying
know what
it's
it
chemistry.
is. I don't want to go outside of games and say, well, we had 2 goals disallowed. No.
That's kind of making excuses. It's
yeah,
kind of making excuses.
You found those ones. Find one that counts and get the job done. This was a game we should be winning. And RB Comps thinks that we're still playing too cute. I can't disagree.
Yeah, true.
It's chemistry for Wing of Winter.
Is it we're playing cute because we don't? I get what he's saying, because we don't have the solutions on how to break down the low block. Is it too cute because we don't want to take the risk of making those direct diagonal passes or those through balls that?
So maybe more safe than it is cute. What you're thinking?
Bingo. That's the word.
Yeah.
We're playing too safe.
Because Fool's Mate here says aggressiveness and grinta. That's what we need more. You know what? Aggressive in terms of approach. I would have to agree.
I agree with that.
Get in a shooting spot, take some rips, and follow it in for a rebound. It doesn't. You don't have to work it all the way to the goal. You don't have to find Dushan on a cross. Let him run in for rebounds.
Yesterday. Right here,
didn't
right? Outside shot.
Get shots. Then, test the keepers. Make them work. Make them work. That is the one thing that right now that I said it, we can make teams work a lot harder defensively. We can make them work harder.
We didn't make them work yesterday. We didn't make that. The goalie made that save on Dusan
That was a great save. But I want to see in a game with 70% possession, I want to see him make a few saves. crazy
He
saves. Like,
did. There was another one where Chico crossed it in and he spilled it. Did he spill it? It was sort of a cross, kind of a shot, like
we
bending
worked it
in.
back. That's right. We worked it back to Taram, and Taram's shot. He put it too close to the keeper. He was trying to
Yeah,
side foot it back post. I think he should have just laced it short side, like just rip it as hard. But it is what it is.
yeah.
I wouldn't
I
call
get it.
that a big save. He made a good save though. It was close to him though. I don't know, man. I need to see way more. I need to. We had Yildiz with the cross, missing Cope Miners and Vlahovic almost curling into the back post,
And Chico didn't make it there at the back post.
but
Like
then you
those
have
what I was saying earlier. Like
but you
those are the ones we don't, you gotta use those. Yeah,
you
go ahead.
have a bunch of nothing in between those though for me. So it's like
Yes.
when you put a scare into a team, you immediately follow up. It's like, okay, now we got him. Like you got to smell that blood in the water. You got to go, like
Yep.
push. It was like, okay, we got that moment and then nothing. Crosses in general, I don't know why we can't hit anybody on a cross. And one, I think Cambiaso put one across. There was nobody there.
That's what I was saying. We had like 4 or 5 of those. So here's a comment up here from Wings of Winter. We have a very thin team too, so we can't be pushing for. I disagree with this. I think we have, and we talked about this on the. Thanks for the comment. We talked about this on the pregame, where I mentioned we have enough coverage at most positions where the guys coming in have put in enough minutes that they know their role and they know what they have to do. So I don't think we can use the we're thin anywhere. We may not have great depth. That's a different point, but we have enough guys who can come in and play as equally as good as the guy that they're taking off.
Yeah,
Center back might be a bit of an issue, but everywhere else, well, and striker, we still have a backup striker.
that second half, Cope Miners was not as central. Like he wasn't in the area anymore.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and we talked
It
about in the
was
pregame.
he was like on a couple sequences he was, and then for the majority of it he was more out to the flank. But like that's the guy you want in and around the top of the area, taking those shots if you're going to take shots from there and look for rebounds, etc. But up front, it's just like I don't know. They all have it's almost like they all have a different idea of what they want to do, and it's not all on the same page. It's like Yildiz, like, is he cutting in and shooting? Do we go for rebound? Is he gonna look back post? With Conceição, it's just like, well, he's gonna try most likely beat his man, cross in, but is he gonna cut in, drive? With Cope Miners, is he gonna fade off to the side? Is he gonna go in and play close to Vlahovic? Are we gonna be crossing it in? I'm
Is
not
that
really sure.
chemistry? Is that could be chemistry?
That is chemistry. Like making it click like who's showing for the 1-2s. There was a couple moments in the first half. Yildiz played a through ball to absolutely nobody. Nobody was making the run. Nobody was on the same page. Just went by. It was very, very odd. Taram, like I said, I like Taram a lot. I think he's got a ton of potential, and you could see it. His passing needs to get dialed.
I would
But
say the first that was the only downside in the first maybe 30 minutes was Taram was just. I thought he grew as the game went on. But he made a couple passes at the beginning. It's just like, oh, mama.
But I don't think it's I still don't feel it's that much personnel and the players. I still feel it's this group thing and this a lot of it's mentality. It's like watching a different team. They have to find a way to channel that at like all moments. Because moments are what we're failing at right now. It's a difference between a win, a draw, a loss, and the goals we allow are avoidable. What 90% of the goals we've allowed are from our own fuck ups.
We could probably go in and we could probably do a whole show on just analyzing goals and like which ones were, legit. Yeah, that was on us.
But and that's gotta stop because yeah, this one stung yesterday. That goal stung. That was an avoidable goal. An avoidable goal. And outside of that, I didn't feel too worried about Lille. I'll be
But to
quite
sort of
honest.
echo what you were saying before, you can't. I didn't. You can't let that affect your game plan. I don't think that goal really affected Juventus' game plan. I didn't see a drop off after we went down 1-0. If anything, we picked up our play, but it's you know don't worry about that goal. Let's go get two. I
Yeah.
think this team, to your point, has a mentality of let's go get one. We got it. Okay, how are we gonna get that second? We got two. Yes, they were called back, but you gotta you gotta push. You have to. There's that mental block where you got to push through that to go
They
get that.
got they got
that
to do
third.
something. There's something that's not and I have no idea what it is. And I can't even say anymore that it's Bremer, you know? Because, like we said, Bremer affects everything, this pressure, this cheating and whatnot, and you get more opportunities out of it. But if you look overall at the amount of opportunities we're getting, it's very close, like to where we were averaging with him there
Mhm.
and stuff, which is that 12 to 11 to 13 range, etc. Yesterday, 11 total attempts. Yeah, there's got to be something that tips the scale. If it's not Cope Miners in that advance role, do you go away from it or do you trust the process? How long are you willing to trust the process? Hey, everybody's different. Against Torino, we're gonna need the 3 points there, everybody. We know what's going on domestically. Yeah, you can't afford to drop anything there. This one flat out has to be a victory. We are 4 points from top. Napoli at 25 there. We look at the fixture list, and you're going to have, obviously, Milan is going to be facing Cagliari. Milan coming off a big win against Real Madrid away from home. And then you got the big one. You've got Inter Milan and Napoli facing off against each other. So we've got to get the 3 points against Torino. You have Atalanta and Udinese. Expect Atalanta to win, but again, Udinese, I'm not sure how we found that version on their home ground, but I'll take it, okay? And then we're going to have Milan, and that's going to be in Milan. We're going to be away from home, so this derby has to be 3 points for Juventus. We talked about lineup going into it. I would maybe make one change, if that. You got to get the job done. So,
Yeah. So 4 of our 5 games this month are away.
yeah.
So Torino, that's our only home game. I fully agree. This has to be 3 points. I'm not saying that the Scudetto is lost. I'm not saying the season is over if we drop points. I'm just saying these sons of bitches better get 3 points on Saturday.
Yeah, and again,
Figure it out.
doesn't matter how, you just have to do
Yep.
it. Tactics, all that go out the window in this game. It doesn't matter where Torino sits, close to 10th, whatnot. That goes
It's
out
a
the
street
window in
fight.
these games. They're
Street
gonna,
fight.
yeah, and be ready from the hop, get the job done. But I don't know what tips the scale for this team. Storm the barn, everybody. You know the drill. Get yours in. We already got 3 on deck. We are gonna tackle them, and then we
I'm
might
good
even have a
for
few.
I'm good for 3 Storm the Barns, and then I got to roll.
Right.
So
And then I could carry on solo for a bit, so keep it rolling. Matt saying Serie A is so competitive at the top this season. We need the full points. Absolutely. You got to win the one. That's why I said, like, even dating back to, like, the big game with Inter that you pull a draw there, you got to make it count. You can't follow up with another draw. Like, you just have to
yep.
get 3 points consistently in those must-win games. This one, gotta be Torino. Gotta be Torino. So, Adi, from what I have seen so far, I am confident about the City game in Turin. Um, More so than the trip to Villa Park. Thoughts?
Disagree. I'm more. I'm this for some reason. This team plays. We play better away from home. Maybe it's the
Yeah, it's
less pressure at home. I'm okay going on the road playing anybody at home this season. Hmm.
2-4 at home outside of Champions League. That's just league play. So 3 and have we had one home Champions League game? 2 so far.
Two
so
Stuttgart
far.
and
Yeah. So we're 3-5 at home this season in total.
Listen,
Or
I don't watch
sorry.
EPL.
We're 3-4-1 because
I could bring up
yeah.
the stats, but so
Yeah,
listen, I
4 draws,
don't
1
watch
loss.
EPL. I do not give a shit about anything that goes on over there on that island. All I know is that City's going to be a problem. No matter what happened yesterday.
I am more confident in the match against Villa than I am getting something out of the City game, to be honest. And I'll tell you why. Have no idea how we're gonna look or play against a team that is probably gonna dominate possession on us. Because we haven't really seen a team dominate us in possession. We've seen teams that give us problems running us hard. But we haven't seen a team dominate possession like that.
Yeah, we haven't been pinned back like we have in the past and be able to withstand it. And right, that's a good point. What do we look like in a shell? I have no idea.
Yeah, so that it's gonna be interesting. The Stuttgart one was actually a lot closer in terms of possession. They just ran us hard, and City's not going to play like that. They're just going to dominate the ball and poke and prod at the defense.
Stuttgart, we weren't pinned back. We would get the ball, and we'd give up the ball, and they would run at us. So we weren't really like sitting in a low block. That's how it's going to be against Man City.
Stuttgart just took away everything instantly. It's like you went to the flank, and we were way too slow to play Stuttgart.
Yes.
Tempo was nowhere near what it was going to be to create any issue for them. They ran us, made us look like we were standing still, basically. I don't know. We'll see. Madrid and Man City losing streaks are indicators of football is healing. I'm glad you feel that way. I'm not against it. Let's keep it rolling, and I'd love to add to it. I would love for Juve to add to it. My confidence level, though, they need to prove it to me. Like I said, they need to prove it to me. Okay? Need to prove it to me. Pierre.
Last one.
Who is more important to the team in the future, Locatelli or Cambiaso?
Holy shit. This is a good one to end on. Based on the current roster, I would say Cambiaso. I don't know. Locatelli's been playing good.
Damn, these are both my boys. I'm really struggling with this one.
Yeah.
More important to this team in the future. Cambiaso's got incredible versatility, but he, for me, still is a better player on that right side. So the versatility is in a pinch and stuff. If he was world class on both sides, we're talking, and he could still get there, whatnot.
Alex P, which is the hammer, the absolute hammer answer for this. Okay, if Locatelli disappears tomorrow, nothing changes for Juve. Jesus.
Disagree. His agenda can't even be denied. He was balling out yesterday.
That's your opinion.
This is a tough one. Gun to my head. I mean,
yeah.
The fact that all these guys came in and you got a new manager, and I was told I laugh because it's Paredes is gonna sit him down. Now we got all these mids coming in. He's still the main guy, and I said the midfield looked different when Locatelli wasn't in there. It's a different midfield with him in here. He is very, very important to Juve. Cambiaso is also incredibly important. Gun to my head for the future, I'd probably lean towards Cambiasso.
There you go.
Just because he's got more above him, in front of him, ahead of him, that, yeah, he could still show way more. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to continue on. Skanga, always a pleasure, brother. Take care.
All right. Have a great week. Maybe I'll be back on the weekend. Who knows? If not, see you on the flip side.
Derby. We got a derby. I got to find one of those mutts for behind enemy lines, too. Take care.
Set the tone.
All right, everybody. You're stuck with just me. Stuck with just me now. What am I drinking? It's literally just water. Just water. That's all. Nothing exciting. MVP so far this season. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Who's your MVP so far this season, everybody? If I have to name one, I might have to go. So Matt's going to go with Luca and carry that on. Luca there, MVP so far this season. Chico, Cambiasso, Kalulu. We got another Luca. And yes, Kanga out. Cambiasso, Kalulu, Yildiz, my MVP. If I got to go early MVP so far this season, he makes a huge impact. To think of the difference of what might be in creation without him, and the fact that it's still struggling right now, I'm probably going to say real early right now might have to be Chico for me. We saw the numbers come out from Optapalo. I'm trying to find it right now. Conceição, 21 years old, Juve, 99th percentile for successful dribbles, 99th percentile for key passes, 99th percentile for offensive actions, 98th percentile for XG and XA, 94th percentile for assists, 92nd percentile for progressive carries. No player in the top 7 leagues has more XA per 90 than Conceição at 0.66. I'm probably going to go with him, and I'd say the other, just because I do notice a difference when he's not in there. It's probably going to be between Luca and Chico for me for actual MVP. But there's something to be said for Cambiasso too, because you do notice when he's not out there, and he's had to come into games, and the impact is definitely felt, and it's different. But all those guys make a big difference. So let's see. Skippy saying, Alberto, haven't seen you this. This isn't even negative. What? We're going to kill it. Okay, let's kill it. I just need them to show me that. I can't sit around and watch this team draw all these games. We got to take that next step. We're in November now. What are we going to be saying the same thing in December? We got to wait. It's not that I'm negative. They have to show me. They have to show me to gain that confidence, man. You know, and I'm always the optimist. But I gotta get something back from them here. We gotta win these winnable games, brother. We gotta. Anish, when are we going to see Arthur in League or Champions League? Please do not hold your breath, my friend. Okay? Do not hold your breath. Skip say that's true. We're a draw FC. Yeah, I just need them to kill teams off. Get these. Oh man, Pierre coming in here. If Zhegrova for 15 mil is an option, do we go for it, and where does he play? He was rumored with us. This past summer. It was 15 to 20 million euros. And it was interesting because not a lot of us had heard about him or anything. But now when you see him like that, it's like, yeah, that would have been a solid pickup. But if it was between him and Chico, I'm just as happy. I saw a comment earlier, I believe it was Edgar, that put Zhegrova made Chico look ordinary. I wouldn't go that far. I think they're both very, very tricky customers. If he comes in, could you imagine? You sub off Chico and then you sub on Zhegrova or something. You don't lose anything. this is another thing that has to be talked about with this team. Long term, I'm more than fine with the project because of the fact that you can correct that. And this is one instance we're talking about a potential example for a move that allows you to keep it level with your substitutions, okay? It allows you to keep that level and make your changes one for one. Right now, I don't see a way Mota keeps everything level one for one in changes. Everything changes pretty much with any changes that he makes that are not wingers. Wingers are, and still that kind of changes because Nico Gonzalez for me changing Conceição is a drop. I'm going to call it a drop. Chico's massive for creation. We just went over the numbers. Gonzalez wasn't there. He wasn't anywhere near that when he was playing. And of course, to be fair to him, he's been hurt for a while. He's got to get back in the lineup and show up, but there's a significant difference there. Everybody's been talking about it right now. That Chico has run away with that spot. Gonzalez, the rumors are today that he's going to be looked at as the switch up to Vlahovic. I personally don't see it. I know he's played there before and everybody's saying, but let's see. I hope it works. I hope it's a solution. I still stand firm. I would play Yildiz there even before that. I think I'd go with Gonzalez at the 10 potentially. And maybe, just maybe, and Alex, I know we had this discussion yesterday, it might benefit the group overall. Dropping Cope Miners back and maybe him playing from deeper might actually help us out a lot more. Because sustaining pressure is another way to hurt teams. And in yesterday's game, I can honestly say there's way too many times where I would say we are early to recycle the ball and regroup rather than sustaining that pressure. And there are crosses, there are through balls, there are plays that could be made. And when Cope Miners is advanced in those positions, maybe you put a different player there and he's the one at the back pulling the strings to sustain that pressure. It's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. That's all I'm saying. But question marks around Gonzalez. Question marks around Gonzalez. Let's see. The next one coming in. Becalogia here. Which game will be surrendered for Luis in order to understand and accept that he is not integrated here and to erase the "it's been just 10 games" saga? Well, I can't answer that question. But the thing here is we got to get him in a position. We've seen him at a couple different tries there. I don't know. His cameos, some have been great, really showing his chops, and then some have been horrific. So, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one, okay? But he's got to get back in there first, and we need to see it, and then we can go from there. Edgar saying, I like your idea, Alberto. Cope Miners to replace Kefren Turam in the double pivot and Yildiz as number 10 centrally behind Vlahovic. Yeah, and then again, keeping in the theme of how do you keep things like for like and one for one. What happens when Cope Miners comes out? Maybe Fajoli. And yeah, if Luca's out, Turam, like we could still probably do it easier, that route, and keep it like for like. Adzic is a forgotten man we have barely seen. He's getting sent to next gen games to get minutes. There's a lot of things that can happen. I don't know if Mota is going to tweak or if he's going to just say, hey, it's moving right. He might like what he's seeing so far and believes that with more time, they can, take it and elevate it to the next level. I don't know. I don't know what the thought process is there. Torino. And here's the other factor. The points are critical. We have to get the results. So do you take that chance in the derby to move Cope Miners back to see it. I mean, you're one quick change from going back to where you need to be. But maybe use the training sessions leading up to it to see it and to see if maybe that tips the scale. I don't know what it is, but it is worth a shot. Do you take that shot in that derby when you got to get 3 points in it? Maybe you do. Maybe you do. I don't know. It's a tough spot Mota's in, but I don't know how confident I am in just continuing to do what we're doing right now and waiting. There's something that's just a little bit off, and maybe Cope Miners from further back does more good. The other thing is, I think it would depend on the matchups, because Cope Miners, in terms of reading the opposition and helping our press, is huge. If you move them back into the pivot, you lose that. You lose that organization, and trying to do it from there as opposed to from the start, leading the line and everything and how he reads it. If you want him dictating and organizing that from higher up is the way to do it. So there's a trade-off there. Bit of a risk. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I have no idea what Mota's going to do. Pino, do we see Yildiz in the 10? That may be the key. I personally don't like him being that wide. I mean, there were several moments through the game yesterday where he was in positions to do damage. A couple times his decision making let him down. One, maybe 2 times his touch let him down. Otherwise, the crossing, he just couldn't hit the mark on a couple of them. Took a shot, got blocked. He was in tight traffic. Maybe could have feinted and cut in and then take a strike. There was traffic everywhere because it was a flick on off a set piece that found him at the back post. I think he just needs to be on the pitch, to be honest, and he'll be effective. But in the 10 role, I think it's more about seeing him there to get Cope to start also from further back and get Yildiz closer to the area. Because when he's out on the wing there, he's got a lot of work to do, but he puts a lot of work in defensively. He'll still have to do that from the 10 role, but I think how he will interpret it will be completely different than what we get out of, a Fajoli, a Cope Miners, etc. I'm willing to try it. Something's got to tip the scale offensively for this team to start clicking and killing games. There's no harm in trying it. What are we talking about? Pierre, an informed Luis is something that the team needs to fix its problem. Agree or disagree? Having all your guys in form, or any of your players in form, is always going to help. But an informed Luis, is that what tips the scale? He is, when it comes to set pieces, considered a specialist. We haven't seen it in the matchups where he was at there, but our set pieces in general need to get better. You need to create problems for teams. It's another element to when you're dominating possession and you're putting teams back and you're pushing them. We get 5 corners out of yesterday's game to 1 from Lille. You got to make them at least be dangerous. At least keep teams honest. He's a set piece specialist. He's got a good game. He could play 1-2s. He can tic-tac-toe and he can move up the pitch. He'll find some goals, but he can orchestrate everything. An informed Luis, does it help Juventus? Absolutely it does. I have no idea why this has gone so bad to start, though, because he is way better than what we've seen. I don't know, but it's hard to say that an informed Luis would not help our problem. It would help the problem for sure, because he can be creative. He can be very, very creative. We've seen it in flashes, in his cameos. It's just gotta take that next level of consistency for him. I don't know where all the fuck-ups came from him all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. It's really, really weird. He is heading that way. Again, been unfit for a while. Let's get him back in the lineup. Hopefully it goes in the right direction. But him, and I'd even say Gonzalez, yeah, they got to start moving the scale in the right direction. Who is... Well, he got a hat trick yesterday, did he not? Gyökeres, I believe, got 3 in that game against City there, and he is leading goal scorer, tied with Harry Kane at 5 goals in Champions League. Rafinha at 4, Jonathan David at 4, Vinicius Jr. What did you guys... We didn't even talk about him. Jonathan David. What did everybody think about Jonathan David? Does Juve go in with a high... The question on yesterday's preview show was, do you give Jonathan David 7 mil? Let's say the 7 mil is net. Do you give Jonathan David that? What did you think of Jonathan David? So immediate, Black Mamba saying overrated. Matt saying nice goal. Wing of Winter overrated. Matt, nice goal. Otherwise didn't do much. Yeah. I think consistent and goes for blood. He was decent, but nothing that gets me excited. He looks good. Vlahovic has missed those chances several times. Skippy, to me, he is a killer in the finishing, but I really don't know him. Fool's mate better than Kane. I don't see how he is the solution to our problem. What's interesting is that was kind of how we addressed that question yesterday, is that I think it's more than just a personnel thing right now. I think it's organizational, tactic, strategy. A lot more needs to come into putting the pieces together up top in the final third. A shared understanding, chemistry, all of that. I don't know. I don't know. And for me with Jonathan David, like, to splash a bunch in salary, if he's going to get 1A money, I do have questions if he can be a 1A guy at a big club. But he's a good striker. He's a good striker. But in terms of if we're looking for a specific striker, if they're looking for a specific striker, technically good, that adds to everything overall, I question if that's the best route for us. He's definitely a good player, though. Good striker. I don't know if he's the be-all, end-all. Gyökeres, that everyone's hot on and everything, I don't know. I don't know either. What is he? 24, 26? 24, 26 in that range? I don't know. He's red hot right now. Absolutely red hot right now. 26, 27 for Gyökeres. He's red hot right now. But again, I fail to believe one person comes in and just solves all the problems. We got to put it together. Our roster isn't bad by any means, and I really fail to believe we can't create more problems with the guys we have there. I really fail to believe that. Vlahovic, for me, has been doing well over the past few games and doing a lot more than he was doing when he was facing the criticism. The criticism, I believe, was warranted. He's moving way more. He's getting more involved. He's pulling himself away from the back line, not just standing there stagnant. That needs to continue, but we need to put the rest together. It all has to work. I fail to believe it's just one plug and play, one individual, and everything changes. Yeah, it's a tough one. Sweaty. Prediction for Inter Merda versus small club Arsenal tonight. Well, get your predictions in, everybody. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. Inter and Arsenal. So, Inter, slight, very, very slight favorites. This is almost dead level. In terms of the previous matchups, they're both at 2 wins, 1 draw. I actually think this game ends in a draw. Yeah, I could see a 1-1 draw potentially. But if one of the other team, somebody wins it 2-1, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's going to end a draw. But if somebody's going to snake the win, I actually think it would be Arsenal. Fuck it. 2-1. 2-1 Arsenal. There. Look, everybody. Fans are on mixed feelings right now around this Juve. And the truth lies somewhere in the middle. You got people on certain sides of the fence. A lot of us are right here with me, just kind of level. I'm not going into games overconfident anymore, and I'm not going into anything really down low because I think it's very, very close for us. I don't know what the answer is. I just hope Motta finds it, and as quick as possible. We can still, and this weekend could shift things in Serie A for the positive and really turn the outlook around. We need to sort it out and get in order and find consecutive victories. We need to go on a healthy little run. This weekend, we can't afford any slip-ups. Okay? After this, we'll have an international break, and then we'll face Milan. You guys know the drill. I'll bring you all the news in the days leading up to this big Derby della Mola, and then we will get to the live preview show the day of, and of course, a watch-along. The last one before international break. You guys, as always, absolute pleasure. Get the likes up. Let's see what Motta's going to do. Is he going to tweak the lineup? Or is he going to leave it the same and hope that the chemistry just builds? Let's see, everybody. All I know is I still look forward to every single match and watching these guys grow. I just hope it happens sooner rather than later. Champions League got very, very interesting for us. But like I said, Stuttgart was the killer. Not yesterday. All right? No slip-ups afforded this weekend. Got to smack around Torino. Let's see what happens. As always, no matter what, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Talk real soon. Take care.